I'm on my way after sticklebacks. I've got my angling suit on. I'm dressed for the occasion as far as fishing's concerned because it is quite chilly now. We are at the end of September. After all, it may seem funny to some fishermen to get dressed up like this when you're actually after the mini species, sticklebacks. But whether it's the tiny fish that I do enjoy catching so much or the big ones that we have to put the time in for, it's all fishing, it's all good. This is going to be interesting because we've had some heavy rain overnight and the brook itself is up. It's not racing through though, but it's quite coloured. And usually when I'm on here, I'm actually sight fishing. Well, I am not usually, that's the way it goes. I'm watching the bait as it drops into the water and I can see the fish take it. I'm not quite sure whether I'm going to be able to do that on this occasion. So I might have to, instead of the deeper water that you just haven't quite got the visibility to the bottom, I might pull it out just slightly because I still want to keep in touch with the maggot itself. That's important. The last thing you want is for those fish to take the bait and to become deep hooked. I'm dropping it in and normally you get a swarm of fish around it. On this occasion though, nothing at all. This is going to be a challenge, I think. But every angler, as we know, is certainly up for the challenge. And there's a fish coming there, and I've got one on the bank. Oh, I'll tell you what, it's just come off as I lifted it. When I said on the bank, that was premature. It just came off. I'll tell you what though, that's an encouraging start because I was wondering how these fish would react. I am quite close to the source, so it will rise quickly and drop, but there are houses beyond in the valley and consequently all the rainwater that falls on the roads will wash into the drains and then eventually into here. So it's not just the water, the rainwater that falls in the immediate area, it's the catchment area. I knew this was going to be a real challenge. However, for as small as it may be, it means that I'm not a blanker. I knew that it was going to be a tough one today. I could tell by the clarity of the water. And it doesn't matter whether you're fishing for tiny sticklebacks or giant carp, they are very much affected by the environment that they live in, and that water has been washed in from the surrounding roads and fields and it doesn't look particularly inviting. So what I did was I took the shot off. I normally fish with one single shot on the line to sink down to the bottom. I took that off, so I've been dropping the bait naturally through the water, and then I've been keeping a very close eye on the line itself so I know when something's going on, and then I've raised the maggot slightly, brought the fish up to where I can see them, and as you saw just now, it's worked. It's all about thinking through the session as it develops, and again, whether I'm on a tiny brook after the mini species, the 3-spine stickleback, or I'm out on an overnighter after carp, it's all about constantly evaluating the session as it develops. When circumstances or situations are different to what you normally encounter, you have to work around them. That's the name of the game, watercraft. They're not used to seeing people on this brook, and I've just had a kingfisher 2 feet away. It landed. I went for the camera instinctively, very quietly, but these birds, they know what goes on around them, and it disappeared, went further upstream. So the sticklebacks do have a predator on this particular brook, it realizes that there is some food to be had. And it's quite interesting because the nearest bigger water that would contain anything more substantial is quite some distance away. So it's the first time I've seen a kingfisher on here. That could well be an indication that there is a bird or a pair of birds. They would have a big territory though in order to gather food, and there's no ponds or lakes or anything else nearby. Certainly we're talking miles, so that's a very interesting thing to see. There's obviously a fish population that sustains a kingfisher.